Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we got something really cool. This is a 1/8 scale brushless 4x4 RTR buggy. It's called the Optimus XL. If you've been watching my reviews and subscribed to the channel, you've been seeing a lot of these 4x4 off-roads, but this is going to be the first kind of 1/8 scale buggy I've done so far in this channel. I remember I used to race these when I was young here on Maui on the track, and this looks like a good alternative, cheaper version of maybe the name brand cars out there. So this one looks pretty awesome. It is a car that will go 50 plus miles per hour as far as what it's saying here on the box. 50 plus miles per hour, full 4x4, and it is from DHK Hobby is the name of the manufacturer. Well, look at this thing. It just looks like it's gonna rip. Spinning the box around here, we can see that we have mixed aluminum everywhere. This nice vibrant orange aluminum here on the shocks. We have aluminum bracing throughout, bulkhead, shock towers, all kinds of stuff. So really anxious to review this, and this is going to be a full-fledged review. This is going to be an unboxing, inspection, setup. We're also going to get out there and do a bash test, jump test, as much as possible, see what this thing can do, and then also do a final pros and cons like I normally do. If you wanted to go ahead and pause, you can see these specs, but I'm just going to call out some of the stuff. So it's two 7.4 volt batteries, so this is actually going to do 4S, 2 in series to give us 4S. It's a 2030 kV motor. It's a 100 amp brushless ESC. Now that's crazy amount of amperage it's going to be pumping out. So anyway, there's some dimensions too if you want to go ahead and check those out. This thing does look like it's going to be a beast. And then we'll get to the setup and stuff. So first, we've got a little box in the front there, and then we're gonna pull out the buggy here. Man, this thing looks pretty darn awesome. There's the buggy, and then there's one more thing in the box here. There's the wing and instruction manual, and the charger. So first thing, let's go ahead and take off the sides here. This is just for packaging. Want to get rid of those. There's the car. Look at this car, man. Wow. This thing is looking good so far. Look at this orange stuff. I'm going to take off this. It doesn't really have that pasted on body cover, but a good enough body cover just to protect the Lexan body. And looks like that's all we have to do. Nice and shiny Lexan body there. Optimus XL. Nice paint job. Anyway, I'm going to set the car on the side in the background here, and we're going to unbox the rest of this stuff first, and then we'll get back to the car just to see exactly all the components and how the car looks in depth. Here's a spoiler and instruction manual and stuff, and also looks like a little antenna tube. So the spoiler already has graphics on it, Optimus XL, has DHK Hobby there. Here's a user instructions for the controller, ESC, and then instructions for the car there itself. Charger you get in the box, it looks like it's just a separate charger they're throwing in the box, a balanced charger, and it looks like a pretty good one. Looks like it's going to be doing 2 and 3S. So they do give us two 2S batteries, so this will charge 2 of them. Probably not at the same time if you use this charger, but if you have a hobby grade, of course, you can charge them on your own hobby grade charger. This is just one of those little cheap chargers. It looks like a good charger, but it is just small. And this one is the Asia/Euro plug, so I'm going to have to use an adapter if I do use this charger. But I have my own hobby grade, so I probably won't even be using this charger. In this box over here, looks like it's going to be, or should be, the controller. Let's unbox this real quick and see what kind of controller we get. That's everything in that box. And here it is, 2.4 gigahertz throttle, brake, reverse here. There's our wheel. It does have a kind of a soft and sticky rubber on the wheel. Feels pretty good. And here's all the trims and stuff. So throttle trim, steering trim, and then throttle rate and steering rate, off and on switch here, and then throttle and steering servo reversing. And that's all you get with this. Nothing else. Little antenna nub here. D302T, 2-channel spread spectrum digitally proportional radio system. Cool. 4 AA batteries you're going to be popping in there. And this is just the battery door. It's just one of those slide doors. Should slide shut. it does push really tight, so that's not going to be coming open, that's for sure. Let's get to the main event, guys. Sorry for the delay. Just wanted to show you everything. Here it is. Here's the buggy. So let's go a little more in depth into this before we drive it. By the way, I almost forgot to say, check out the description. I will have the link to the buggy in there, so you guys can check out the pricing and more of the specs in depth on the website. Don't forget to check that out below the video. Anyway, here it is. So we have these white dish wheels, and look at that. Look at that wheel nut. So super, this is like, you know, kind of getting into pro territory, where we have this super durable wheel nut, so it's not going to come off or break because this has so much power. I mean, we're throwing 4S in here, so these components better be ready to hold up for anything. The spoiler looks like it's just a body clip mount, so all we do is place the spoiler up on here, push it down on, and go ahead and put in these body clips they give us in the box. And these are not your thin body clips. These body clips are thick. So there we go. That was easy. No screwing or nothing. Just slapping on the body clips. And let's see a little bit more in depth. Flipping the car over, we can see the full aluminum bottom. So the main chassis on the bottom is a full plate of aluminum. This thing looks like about 4 millimeters. I'm just looking at the thickness here, and it is looking like 3 to 4 millimeters thick. And then it has this sub chassis which sits on top. It's kind of a tub, and you can see it kind of kicked up here just a little bit. See that? So it's kind of spooning up. The rear is kind of an abrupt cut right here, but it does, you know, the car is going to be going mainly forward, so you don't have to worry about that. In the front, it does look like it has a good bumper skid plate here that's nice and smooth, so you're not going to catch up on anything. And this is interesting. You don't normally see this kind of a shock tower on RC vehicles. This is a very durable looking shock tower where there's no really design cut out in the shock tower to lessen the integrity. It's just a solid plate with a few holes in it. Normally you see shock towers with a bunch of milling out, and that really degrades the strength, but these guys chose to just have like a solid plate with a few holes for adjustments, which is pretty promising. Anyway, that's how the car looks on the outside. Let's go ahead and take off the body, and really there's only 2 body clips, front and back body clips. Pop off the Lexan body, and look at this. Holy smokes, look at all this orange aluminum. This thing is looking beautiful. Wow, so starting with the front, okay, there's no boots on the shock shafts, but those are some heavy duty shock shafts. I'm feeling oil in those. These things are cranked down from the factory already pretty low, so they're going to be soaking up some big jumps. Torsion bars here on the front to help with stability. You see how these torsion bars are coming down, so we have a whole bunch of things in the front to keep this car stable. There's our steel drive shafts here, so we have steel out drives as well as a thick steel drive shaft, so that thing's going to be taking some abuse. Working our way back, we have a top chassis brace, and that's like a 3 millimeter aluminum piece right there. And then we have on our servo arms, those are aluminum servo arms, so look at that. A cross link, actually, not the servo arm, but a cross link from each tie rod is linked with this super thick. That thing is even thicker than the chassis. That looks like 4 millimeter, and the rest is 3 millimeter. Look how thick that is. That's crazy thick. Going back, here's the servo. Let me flip this around here. So there's the servo, steering servo, and we can hear, sounds like it's going to be pretty high torque. All these components are super bulky. They look like they're going to be super, super durable. Back to the other side, here's the receiver in kind of a tight box here, dust-proof box. Not sure if this thing's going to be waterproof, but there are 2 body clips here, and we can pop open. So I am liking how we have easy access to the receiver, but it's also, you know, well protected from bashing and dirt, rocks, and all that stuff. Okay, continuing on, coming back, this thing looks like it has a mid differential. So you see this box here. This is going to be a differential in here. Centerline steel drive shafts all the way through. There's our super thick pinion gear. Here's our motor. That big old motor, the specs we went through in the beginning with a heat sink and a clamp to kind of brace it all the way down to the aluminum chassis. Really nicely done. Here's the back top brace, aluminum back top brace, our power off and on for our ESC. And speaking of the ESC, here it is. So it looks like the ESC is just kind of, you know, first little con on this thing. It looks like it's just floating around in here. So apparently the sticky tape did not hold good enough for something. So I'm going to have to kind of figure this thing out. Maybe find a better position for it to make sure it sticks down and re-sticky tape this down. Anyway, there's the ESC. It's saying it's a waterproof 8BL100 RTR ESC. It looks like a pretty big and hefty one. We have some wire management clips already mounted up on the top end of the aluminum top brace of the chassis. So if we wanted to, you know, clip in our battery connectors, keep them from flopping around. Speaking of battery connectors, here are two 2S batteries hooked up, and they're going to be hooking up, check this out, in series to the ESC. So effectively, these two batteries, these two stacked 2S 3200 batteries, you hook these into these plugs, and effectively you're getting a 4S power. It's connecting them in series, so we're bumping up the voltage into a 4S configuration. And speaking of 4S configuration, that high voltage is also going to make the motor heat up a lot. And it looks like they actually give us the option to connect a fan on top of the motor. You see how the heatsink has 4 holes here? So if you wanted to mount like an extra fan on your motor, you already have the mounting bracket for it. So that's pretty awesome. While we're at it over here, I just kind of missed that we have this little antenna tube that comes in the box. We can slide that over the antenna. We'll do that right now. And it's just kind of a really flexy antenna tube. Keep that antenna up. While we're over here looking at the batteries, let's go ahead and just take out the batteries and see what we got. So we got 2 body clips here and 2 hinge latches. That's great because you won't lose these hinges. They'll stay on. And we're getting 2 of these just stacked. So if you wanted to put in one 4S, you could. I'm sure you could run this on 2, 3, or 4S, whatever you wanted. But they give us these 2 2S's. And here it is. These are lithium polymer 3200 milliamp hour 7.4 volt 20C batteries. And this is the configuration they give us out of the box. Looks like a fairly easy mounting system. You just don't want to lose these body clips, or, you know, if you're going to be getting a buggy like this, definitely keep some extra body clips at hand just in case you lose these. Okay, and then further working our way to the back, we have the same shocks on the back. We also do have a torsion bar here on the back, so that's going to give us some really stable handling, just like the front. Really tight suspension here, same kind of dog bones, all steel in the back. The differential is plastic, but it's all like held in super tight with all this aluminum all the way around it. So I have no doubt this thing is going to be a powerhouse beast on the dirt. And we're ready to test this thing out. Let's see, let's get a front facing shot and just see how powerful this steering servo is. So plenty of power to turn the car, you know, on a glass table with these nice sticky rubber tires. Let me just hold this up real quick and show you how the throttle is before we go out and bash it. So full throttle. You see how it's got a good amount of torque. And I can tell that the differential is maybe partially already working that center diff, which is transferring, you know, between the front and the rear. So that's really going to help the thing handle and stick to the ground by transferring power between the front and rear. So it's pretty awesome how they have that center diff in this one. Wow, lots of power. 4S power for sure. Anyway guys, let me go ahead and charge up this battery. And I am also going to go ahead and want to secure that ESC. Remember that ESC was actually flopping around. So it looks like if I just double up the sticky tape underneath it, it should be a-okay in the mounting. Anyway, enough about the talking on the bench. Let's get out here and bash this thing, see how it does, and do a final pros and cons afterwards. All right, let's go drive it. All right guys, here with the Optimus XL, and we're going to see what kind of carnage we can do in the neighborhood here and what carnage you can actually handle. We're going to do some curbs, street, grass, rocks, some jumps here, and then we're going to take it over to the park over there where I do that huge transition jump and just see if this thing breaks anything. We can actually reach up and pretty easily look through the window and push that to the back and turn it on. So 4 beeps means 4S, and we're ready to rock. So I just want to trim this out real quick and make sure it's driving straight before we hammer it. So I'm going to go straight away from me, and then we've got our steering trim here on the bottom left. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little to the left. Yeah, we're good. And I want to make sure that our rates are all the way up. So let's see. Okay, so all the way to the left is the throttle all the way down, and then all the way to the right is going to be throttle all the way up. And we have our throttle trim here. I want to trim it so it's not moving. And we have our steering dual rates too, or our steering rate. So we want all those both to the right, and then are trimmed out. Everything looks good. It's pretty much all we can do with the controller. So let's see what we got. Now I don't want to bald these tires too much, and I know this thing rips. So we'll do full throttle here, and then we'll do some jumping and bashing and stuff. So from idle to full throttle now. Oh, it can't even keep its tires traction on the ground, so it has an incredible amount of power here. Let's go ahead and turn into a full throttle. You can see how just crazy power it's got. Let's see what the braking's like. So I'm gonna have to really control the throttle, otherwise I won't get any traction, because this is 4S. So throttle to brake. Wow, so it brakes really good. Really impressed with the braking. And this thing has such a low center of gravity. Let's see the reverse. Yeah, so not quite as fast in reverse, which is good as forward. But what I was saying is this thing has such a low center of gravity, it's going to be super hard to flip. And this does have that center diff, so it's going to keep the traction to the ground. Let's see what happens in the grass if we hammer it. Wow, so it's not even going to do a wheelie or anything. That's great. That's insane. So for racing, this thing might be insanely good for racing. It just barely wants to pick up. This is going to be really easy to jump in short quarters. So let's jump this. See how easy that was to jump? Like nothing. Let's try this again. A little bit more speed. Woo! Oh, there's some Rolos. Oh, nice. Man, this thing is gonna rip in the park on that big transition jump. I can tell it's just gonna blast right over it. Whoa, ooh, right on the lid. Still seems a-okay. So super easy to jump, and it doesn't really wheelie, and that's what you want for racing. Let's try some little curb jumps here real quick. So you can see how it just sails right over the curbs. This thing will kind of tap the ground a lot because it's so low. So don't expect it to soak up everything and not tap the ground. It's actually made to stay so low on the ground that it does hit the ground a lot. And you can tell that sometimes when I jump this curb. Man, this thing is quick. I jump this curb, it might hit the ground after it lands. Oh, that time it didn't. Just jump over these rocks. Yeah, like nothing. Wow, so you can wheelie, but you have to. All right, so let's just see how it does in some of the normal rocks here. There's like no problem for it. This thing's gonna pretty much, you know, it doesn't have huge monster truck tires, but it's just gonna go over whatever you can throw at it. Now this thing isn't like a little toy. This is super powerful and heavy, so I wouldn't recommend giving this to a little kid, you know, because they're gonna hurt themselves with it. So you want to be careful who has access to this thing. If you do let somebody else drive it, you can always turn down the throttle rate all the way down. So I'm turning this all the way down to the left, and this is full throttle. See? So that's full throttle now until somebody gets used to driving, and then you can go ahead and turn that up more and more. This is all the way up. Definitely fast. Okay, let's go ahead and try to jump these rocks real quick. I usually try to jump these with monster trucks in my reviews, and this one should be no problem getting over them. Yep. Like nothing. So it's going to be hitting the frame because it's lower to the ground. But man, there's just so much on-demand torque that it's going to have no problem. So not good for crawling. This is definitely not a crawler. This is a fast racer, you can see, because it's got such a long chassis and smaller tires. It's not going to be able to crawl over stuff. It's going to get hung up super quick. And you don't really want to crawl with something like this anyway, because it's got so much power that you'll end up kind of maybe overheating the speed control in the motor. So this is mainly for fast racing, keeping the air flowing. Let's see what the range is like. If we go ahead and go out to the end of the road here, I have no doubt it's going to make it all the way out to around that 200-foot point. So I'm going to rock it back and forth. Yeah, no problem whatsoever. I could probably go way down the street. Let's go full throttle. Whoa, full brake. So definitely a super quick truck. Alright, so I don't want to wear out these tires too much, because they're not actually made for being on asphalt and pavement, but so far so good. Let's just do a little quick check here. And this is where we can see how the lower center of gravity, it does kind of affect how much it hits the ground. You can see that this is kind of chewed up here, and mainly just right here, because all that weight is just tapping the ground once in a while right here. But that's some thick aluminum, so that's going to be able to take a lot of abuse, and it's laid out really well where there's not too much for it to catch on in the front. It has a really nice flow to it, all aluminum here, so pretty good. Let's just do a quick check. Nothing's even loose. All the suspension seems great, so this thing is going to withstand a lot of abuse. So let's get over to the park. It's not really made for bashing in like a yard like this. Let's get to the park, do some massive jumps, and see what it can handle. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and test out the Optimus XL here at the park. As you can see, this is more of a purpose-built racer for like a track, like a dirt track, 1/8 scale dirt track. And you can't do a whole lot like in your neighborhood with this, but regardless, what we can do is in the park here we can test some big jumps. So I want to try to jump over this transition, see if we can break anything. This thing looks like it's going to be super durable, so at least we'll be able to do a durability test. And then later on, what I might do is make a track over at my dad's place. He's got some property, and I might make a track. I'm not sure if that'll pan out, but might be a cool place to test some RCs. Anyway, let's turn this thing on and do some launching. Full throttle it. Nice. Whew. There's some rolls there. Landed on our feet. All right, let's just keep launching it until we can possibly launch over this. Full throttle now. Not quite, but it's, oh, this thing does launch pretty far. It may not have the suspension to really get it over this whole jump area here. But maybe if I hit a couple different spots. I'm gonna try from all the way across the park, and let's just give it full throttle. Let's see what we can do. That's full throttle. Oh man, it's almost making it. It's like maybe 6 feet short of making this jump, so not able to really make the jump I wanted it to, like some of the monster trucks I review. But still, I mean, that's not what this is made for. This isn't really a basher like those trucks. This is, like I was saying, is a full-on four-wheel drive dirt track racer. But, and it may not have the top speed those other trucks have too. But still, this is a good durability test. Another jump, full throttle. Nice. Ooh. Some cartwheels. Ah, we're on the lid. Okay, full throttle. Nice, nice. That was sweet. Full throttle up. Woo, right through the grass. All right. So a purpose-built car to hug the ground, but it's still fun bashing. Let's just keep going. Oh, land on your feet, yes. Let's keep going till the battery dies. Nice. Oh, on its feet. Yes. Oh, oh. Definitely good at landing on his feet. Woo! Oh yeah. Even bouncing, you can like level it in the air so it doesn't flip. Woo! Nice. Come on, land on your feet. Land on your feet, yes. All right, let's try the other side of the park here. This side kind of has this hill, and it kind of has a, looks like it's a smaller bump though. What might be fun is hammering it down and then hitting this part right here. It looks a little bigger. All right, let's go for it. Up the hill, and let's hammer it coming down. Nice. It's a pretty steep hill there. There we go. Come on down and launch. Woo. Really good jumper. If you hit the jump just right, this thing jumps really good. All right, here we go. Nice. Up the hill. Whew. Oh. All right, so far it's taken every bit of abuse I'm able to get at it. I'm just gonna keep going until this battery dies, man. That's a pretty hard transition right here. And it's managing. Oh, oh, right on the top. Like nothing. This thing is built to last. Definitely a beast. Oh, again, right on the lid. Youch. Oh, for some reason when it hits this transition, it just wants to flip over forwards and endo, just because of the way it's set up, the way that jump is. Nice. Oh, woo! Oh, see that break in the air to kind of level it off. Full throttle. Oh, endo, come on, land. Yes. Nice. So I was full throttle and pulling the trigger, didn't want to pull it back up just because it was already full throttle. Oh, again. Continuing the tests. Nothing is broken. Awesome. Woo! Still going. Yeah! Cartwheels. Okay, looks like we might have a little more lip on this jump. Let's try it. Oh, out of battery power. That was it. So as far as the battery goes, I'll go ahead and have that pop up on the screen here. When the battery, how long the battery lasted, but total race buggy, totally meant for the track, you know. But in a park like this with some jumps, you can totally have fun with it. It's getting kind of late, sun's going down, so I think we're going to wrap this one up. So let's go through a little pros and cons while we're at it. So as we can see, nothing that I can see is broken. Let's do a quick little inspection. Just a little bit of scuffing, you know, on the aluminum bottom plate. And that's mainly just from my house and the street and the road and the rocks. But as you can see, none of the suspension arms are broken at all from all that tumbling and stuff. Shock towers are still in there solid, nothing's bent, none of the shocks are damaged. Even the spoiler mount and the spoiler are still totally solid. They're not broken at all. So this is like a purpose-built racer, you know. Super powerful, lots of fun, and like a tank for durability. Anyway guys, I hope you liked that review. I'll go ahead and have the link in the description down below. As you can see, the steering is working fine. Nothing's wrong with it. So I'll have that link in the description down below the video. So if you guys want to pick this up, if you're maybe racing at a track, this might be a good option, like a cheaper but super durable option. And it can take 4S as far as I know here. This is 4S right now. And it does very well. It's very fast. Lots of torque. The top speed is not super, but you can always change the gearing on that. But good enough for this test. Anyways guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.